We start with breaking news tonight. Newly released surveillance video in the search for Sebastian Rogers, taken the night he disappeared nearly 1 year ago. Let's bring up this video here in full so you can really see it. Take a look. This is from Kellen Lane in the Shackle Island neighborhood out in Sumner County. It's 1 block from where Sebastian disappeared from his family's home. The family's private investigator says cameras recorded at 12:17 a.m. That's the timestamp there. And as I mentioned earlier, this video is enhanced. It's still really hard to see, but in it, there is a figure walking up the block and then appearing to stop behind a black car. The figure then turns around and walks back the other way. We're going to play it on loop one more time so you can see it. The video has been given to investigators, and you can see it for yourself at fox17.com. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, and the FBI continue to search for the 15-year-old who has autism. A few sightings were reported shortly after he disappeared, but those tips went nowhere. Sebastian's mother and stepfather say he walked away from his home.
Let's get right to the chase, right? I looped this, and what they're saying is at 12:17, well, let me give you the information. They're saying at 12:17 a.m. on February 26, 2024, there was a mystery figure that was seen in dark clothing walking in Sebastian's neighborhood at 12:17, according to the private investigators. Now, they released a video. Now, this is good that we're actually showing it up like this because, you know, if we were showing it like this, it would be harder to see. But I think you guys could probably see this very good here. And it's talking about a mystery figure. Now, this is the video that has been released. Come on in, folks. We're talking about the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And what they're saying is, right here, new surveillance video shows figure outside Sebastian Rogers' home the night he went missing. And they highlight this area here. And we're just going to kind of look and see if we see anybody. Now, I looked. And then you can kind of, look, there you go. Look, see what I'm saying? You see somebody. And some people are saying it's a skinny person. A skinny person. A skinny person. A skinny person. Look at that. Look, see what I mean? What in the world is going on? Who could that be? Now, the way the private investigator is saying it on Twitter is that this is not breaking in the sense of law enforcement never had this. Apparently, law enforcement has had this. And it wasn't really, this wasn't supposed to be released till next week, the anniversary of when Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers went missing. But it's showing a series of videos. Showing a series of videos, right? And what's up with the surveillance? What do we got here, folks? Do we have something of something or nothing of nothing? Now, I'll give you my take on the situation. And new surveillance out there talks about this mystery person. Mystery person that was seen on surveillance. Outside, well, not directly outside the Proudfoot's home. What they're saying is in this, folks, what they're saying in this surveillance is, I'll just read what the media is saying. Private investigator, which that would be an individual by the name of SF Investigates. A private investigator says new video could be break in the search for Sebastian Rogers. A private investigator hired by the Proudfoots, Chris and Katie, say that a new video could help break the case in the continued search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. The teen with autism went missing from his mother's Hendersonville home February 26, 2024, and hasn't been seen since he was last seen on Stafford Court in Hendersonville. So the media actually validates and says last seen at Stafford Court. Now, Steve Fisher says he's focusing on a new video that could help be the break in the case of the missing teen. Fisher said that in a video, if you look closely in the video, there's a person in dark clothing walking in Sebastian's neighborhood at 12:17 a.m. That would make February 26th. That would mean February 25th, the night Katie and Sebastian returned home from the Texas Roadhouse. Sebastian apparently took the trash out. While the course of Katie talking to Chris Proudfoot on the phone for an extended period of time, 3 hours, she claims she heard a thump, 10 p.m.-ish, a thump, and then nothing and nothing, and then she went to bed. Woke up in the morning, a little after 6 a.m. Where's Sebastian? Gone. Now, Chris and Katie were supposedly on the phone up to pretty close to midnight, right? So what is going on with here? Who in the world? Now, there is definitely somebody, I will say. I don't think, listen, I don't know anything about SF Investigates. I've never had a conversation with that guy before in my life. He seems like he's very passionate at finding missing people. I do view his Twitter account. I do not know him personally, but I really don't hear anyone credible ever saying that, he's not credible or he's lies or he purposely puts out misinformation or he's a fraudster or anything. I don't see that. I don't see, and matter of fact, he gets featured a lot. Fox 17 featured him, right? So lie about this and create some sort of fake image or create some sort of fake surveillance just to create a rouse or to be relevant. I think this is legit. I think it's legit because I've been following SF Investigates based off the Hannah Kobayashi, and he was boots on the ground running around getting surveillance and, talking to people. Apparently, he's been doing the same thing in this case. Apparently, he works for the Proudfoots and, there is individuals that have been going around talking to neighbors, gathering up surveillance, gathering up interviews, talking to people, trying to get information. But you can't say that anyone out there, reputable out there, can say that SF Investigates is a fraud. You can't, I haven't seen anybody. The only people I see that bashes and talks bad about him is more or less Team Seth. Again, tribal. This whole case is tribal. I am in the position of Team Sebastian. I could care less about the Proudfoots, care less about Seth Rogers. I care about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I care about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Crazy, ridiculous tit for tat between the parties and all this nonsense that's been put out. And I just basically bite my tongue and zip it. Sometimes I come out of the woodwork and share a little bit about things and my thoughts, but overall, just stay out of that mudslinging back and forth, back and forth. But I think this right here is the biggest lead yet in this case that has now been made public. Now, SF has put out a tweet in response to this. He's put out a tweet. I'm going to share the tweet that he's put out. This is the investigator that is working with the Proudfoots. I don't know what type of relationship they have as far as monetary, how much he's getting paid, whatever, but he is there. He's been there. I'm not saying he's there now, but he's been there. He's been there multiple times. Who in the right, and I will say this. I will say this based off me being there at that home in that neighborhood, boots on the ground, all along the main road there, the neighborhoods, even into the construction neighborhoods. I've been everywhere there. Daytime, early morning, reenactments, late night. And I can tell you, it is scary as can be for anyone, even an adult, to walk around in that neighborhood at night. It is completely pitch black.
A video was released, and it says, private investigator says new video could be the break in the search for Sebastian Rogers. This was released today, just close to the anniversary. This was at least uploaded 3:01 Mountain Time, so a couple of hours ago. It's a 50-second clip, and I can't show you exactly where it's taken because I have more footage than what this is. So I'm going to give you the full context because I think this is exactly, if you guys have been following the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case, this is kind of like what Blake Lively's team did, where they kind of uploaded a bunch of text, but they took a bunch of context out of it and just took the stuff and, when you put it together without the full context to make them look bad. And then when Justin's side actually released all the text messages, then you saw that it was completely taken out of context. This is the same situation right here. And it's just disturbing that this guy is doing this, off the back of this missing child and getting paid to it and getting paid for it as well. It just upsets the shit out of me that I actually have to come on when I'm sick. But because of this, and we'll get into the video and stuff and the unseen footage, give you the full context, and then what this has caused. So again, bless SF, because, and I'll kind of explain, and we'll have to kind of go through multiple days, because I'll have to, speak with my contact. Oh, wow, they don't even have the article. Did they take the article out? Okay, let me go to my video. That's why I recorded it, because I figured this would probably get taken down. Don't be surprised this article gets taken down pretty fast, because this is just SF desperately, trying to put out a narrative. But anyway, so let's just read this, and then I'm going to show you the unseen footage and the full context, and then I'll kind of explain why this is big. I promise you. So it says, private investigator hired by Katie and Chris Proudfoot says a new video could help break the case in the continued search for Sebastian Rogers. The teen with autism went missing from his mother's Hendersonville home on February 26, 2024. We're coming up on the anniversary. I don't think this is any coincidence that he's trying to do this, and hasn't been seen since. He was last seen on Stafford Court in Hendersonville. But that last part, again, I think, since I've last went live, I think they have now retracted the whole last seen on Stafford, and really, he was last seen on February 25th, because there is, technically, as far as we know, no footage of him wandering around on the evening or late evening or early morning of the 26th. Now, Shiel Fisher says he's focusing on a new video that could be a break in the search for a missing teen. It's funny. About a couple of hours ago, or a couple of hours after this, he's now put something on Twitter, kind of backtracking. Well, I didn't say it was going to be a big break in the case. Anyway, kind of funny. Fisher said that in the video, if you look closely, there's a person in dark clothing walking in Sebastian's neighborhood at 12:17 a.m. on the night he disappeared. He says this person appears, now this is important, he says that this person appears to hide behind a car when someone walks a dog nearby, and then the person takes off in the opposite direction. Now what's funny is SF, guess what he released? Well, he releases just one part of the clip, right? And let's just take a look. And I apologize, guys. Oh, let me finish the statement. I guess there's a little bit more, and then we'll watch it. But I'm just going to warn you now. It's really hard to see. I tried to fix it. Keep in mind, I got his footage a couple hours ago, and then I got the unseen footage about an hour ago. So I tried to do the best I could for the little minute time I had before I went live. I am going to work on it more. I'm not going to spend too much time because I know what it is. Okay, so Fisher talked about the significance of the video that the public hasn't seen until now. So what we found, this is in quotes, so what we found, we went through over 100 hours of surveillance. He loves saying that. It wasn't until the third pass through the surveillance that we even spotted this person. And there's a person at 1217 in the same neighborhood. It appears that they're trying to stay out of sight of another person that's walking their dog, then double backs after. It's clear, and goes back toward the construction zone. Oh, he loves that narrative, right? He loves that narrative. He wants Sebastian to get over to that construction zone and keep that narrative up, which is an absolute joke. You have to know that of all the places that they had probably searched was that construction zone. And then keep in mind that that was an active place that was being built. So even after searchers, people are building on that, as a community. If he did fall into something, you'd think they would have found him, if he was hiding around in there. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, continuing on. It's clear, and he goes back towards the construction zone where it was believed that he may have been seen. But see, this is the thing, and this is in quotes. So according to the news. So actually, let me read this again because now realize this. It appears that they're trying to stay out of sight of another person that's walking their dog and then doubles back after. It's clear. Remember that. I mean, they're putting it in quotes. It's clear and goes back towards the construction zone. I mean, that's pretty specific. Where it is believed that he may have been. It's very hard to see because the person's wearing all dark clothing, which is believed to be what Sebastian was wearing, he said. So that's in quotes. Fisher said that the person in the video appears to be a thinner person, making it hard to see them. F is the gift that keeps on giving, even though he's a shill. But so there's a little bit more. I think there's one last thing here, and then we'll look at the video. What we'd like to know is if this person is accounted for. Fisher added, does law enforcement know who this individual is? Do they even know about the person in the video? And if they do, have they accounted for who that person is? Well, for those that don't know, they've already responded to this. But again, this just shows you, like I said, I'm going to show you the original first, and then I'm going to show you the full context. And then once you see the full context, it's like, no, this isn't two people. But because, and the reason why he released this specific clip is he didn't want you to see the first part of it, in my opinion. Then it just says, President, there's still active Amber Alert. Let me just remind you people, you guys know what an Amber Alert's for. Usually means abduction. And then I love, so it says, so what's next to Fisher? Fisher tells WSMB4 that waterways will be searched using underwatered ROVs with high-definition cameras. God bless his heart. I really hope that's off his dime and not others because, in my opinion, until there's actual proof, I'd hate for people to come out and spend resources if there's more evidence to show an abduction, right? Let's just say if that's the case, which as we move on in a few days, we're going to get to that. I'd hate for people to come out and spend their time and resources if they almost know that he's not in that particular area, and they're just wasting time and resources that could be used on somebody else that's missing. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's look at the video. And I do apologize if you're on your phone. It's I do zoom it in, and then I'm going to show you the unseen footage as well. And I'll kind of show you where it's taken from, and then kind of explain what this has caused. In a good way. All right, so here's the video, and we'll watch it first, and I'll show you kind of approximately where it's at. So this is at night. Now I know it looks like it's daytime. They've ran a daylight filter through it, and I promise you're probably not gonna, especially if you're on the phone, you're probably not gonna see anything. I do apologize. I do zoom it in. There's not much worth in really clearing this up because I'll give you the full context of actually what's going on, and it's not hard to figure out. I mean, I've only looked at it for like 2 hours, not even 2 hours, and I could tell what the hell was going on. And the fact that he's looked at this at least 3 times and put this out to say like, oh, this could be the big break. Again, this is disturbing. I mean, he should be ashamed of himself. It's disgusting. Okay, so that's the video, right? You probably couldn't see shit, right? I apologize. So here is the timestamp. I don't want to show, because what I have is I have the screenshot where it's fully zoomed out. I think it's on Twitter, so you could find it. But I don't want to show it because, anyway. But what this is the timestamp, so you can see that it's 12/17, 2/26. Notice the timestamp. You notice how it's the typical year. There's no February, AM, the typical timestamps that we see that come from SF. Notice this looks more like a legit timestamp. I think that's a coincidence. Anyway. So here's the unseen footage. This is before what he showed. So this Actually, I thought I showed. Okay, I think I show where this is after this, but here's the unseen footage. So this is before the person is going away. This is the person walking towards the car. And again, I do zoom in, so and I'll explain if you don't know what's going on. You can see a person a lot better as they're coming than as they're going, and I can probably tell you what's going on. So you see this person. Now, from what I understand, this is a flagpole or something like this. This is not a street light. This is like a floodlight or something like that. No, someone was in the comments saying, I didn't know they had floodlights or street lights. Not a street light. And then this is the continuation. So now remember, SF is trying to say that there's a person that goes behind the car because someone's walking their dog, and then this person bolts out. And I guess the clip he shows is just the second part, which just shows something darting off, and it's very hard to see. But I will zoom in. But again, you can barely make out a figure right about here. And it's tough. Okay. Now I'll show you guys where this is all going on approximately. And then I'm going to zoom it in, and then I'm going to give you exactly what's going on. And then we'll talk about the repercussions. So this is where Sebastian Rogers' home is at, right? Now keep in mind, of all the cameras that are on both of these streets, I've told you guys there's probably, I'm just guessing, at least 15 addresses with cameras and more than one camera. I'd say almost every other home has at least one or more camera. Keep that in mind. And we've seen that, even through SF. And there's cameras everywhere. And some of them are very good cameras. And we know that there's one very good camera pointed on Kellen. What we're looking at is kind of at the top of Devon and Kellen. And what we're seeing is a person walking down south of Kellen, right? They walk a little bit, and then they stop kind of behind that car, and then they go back. Now, I'll explain to you from what I understand and what I've been able to, and again, I've only had this footage for just a few hours, and the unseen footage I only had for like an hour, so I haven't been able to do a lot with it, but just with the little bit I have, there's somebody doing construction outside, I was able to tell what was going on, at least in my opinion. Let me get to chat while it gets... Oh. Again, I appreciate everybody coming in. Donna66, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you. And Jays, thank you so much for your support and the Mob Crew membership. God bless you. Hubbo's mom, good to see you, member for 32 months. That's insane. Hi, Chris. You don't need to come on when you're sick. I appreciate that. But this is big news. I promise we'll get to that here in a minute. But God bless you. This is what has happened today has literally just caused a huge fallout because of SF. All right. So now let's get to the unseen footage. This is a little bit more zoomed in, and then I even have a filter where I run a negative filter. Again, I wish I had a little bit more time to kind of try to clear it up. This is slowed down. Again, so we kind of see a figure here. We really can't make it out, but we can see a figure. But what's going on is this is actually, now remember, Fisher says that this is supposedly someone darting to hide behind the car while somebody's walking their dog, and then this person darts away. Well, what's actually going on is this is a person that's walking their dog to the car, and I think they were possibly going to continue on, but there is a part that I think SF left out, and what you see is the dog, and it's tough. You can only see him because I'm assuming maybe it's a small dog, and I'm trying to clear it up. But the dog actually then darts, what, in my opinion, from what I can see, and again, we'll look at it from a couple different things, and then we'll talk about why this is so huge. But the dog, you can see it right here. And again, I apologize if you're on your phone. I do try to run a couple filters. You can see it right here. And then one more frame right here. It darts off. So to me, I think the guy was walking his dog and got up to that car. So he's walking kind of down Kellen. He's walking south. And I think when he got to that car, then the dog, I don't know, maybe heard something, or maybe it is going to go to the bathroom. It darts off. And then we get SF's portion, where then now we see him then go out. Yeah, I know they debunked it. But I just want to give context of what I'm seeing. It's kind of funny because as I was doing this, I was speaking to my sources and kind of heard that there's a person that likes to walk their dog on Devon, and sometimes they do it around this time of night. Some people get off late. Some people walk their dogs at night, and that's all this is. It's kind of pathetic that SF would go to the news and use this to be like, oh, there's a big break. There could be a big break in this case. It's disgusting, right? Without even doing any due diligence. And then how many people he shit on for putting certain things out. And but yeah, to do this, I think this is the ultimate, like, just low. I mean, you can't get any lower, right? To get people's hopes up, right? Because people are going to see that article, right? And be like, holy shit, like, I've been following this case, like, damn. Like, even when I first saw it, I'm like, oh shit, maybe. But then when I kind of knew when it said the private investigator, I knew, I'm like, there's probably a narrative he's trying to put out. So here I'm gonna. Then you can see the guy, and it's tough. So the footage that he released, to me, it looks like the guy is now just running after his dog. So here is the negative version of it, where you can kind of see the person a little bit better. Again, like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to like really put this and fix this, but you can see a little bit better when I put it in the negative. You can see the guy coming. It's really tough to see the animal. He could be like, the animal could be beside him. Again, it's just, you got to remember this from how far we are away from the actual camera. It's, I don't know, 100 feet, give or take. So it's pretty out there, so it's, when you're zooming in a lot, obviously now it's going to get super pixelated. So I know you're not making out a lot, but you'll just see a couple frames, and it's hard, especially when it's what I believe to be the animal just kind of running off.